Go ahead and start. No pause, no music, no nothing, because I got to go to sleep. Did y'all come in hitting the like button? Hey, me. Natural in New Orleans. Let me see. Oh, my God.
All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I know some people are not feeling too happy today because Thomas Massey lost in Kentucky. A lot of people are asking, what's going on with our country? Is this it? Can you just buy whatever you want? But I'm going to be positive here. I'm going to say, look up, right? It does not mean everything. We are obviously plugged in. We see what is going on. We are also watching them
Y'all,
have,
please come
they
in
believe they have more
hitting
money
the
than
like
God.
button. Like, share, subscribe, and support the platform by way of Cash App, $ AUNTEAFEE, or if you would like to support by PayPal. What's the other one? I can't remember. Ask me and I will let you know how to support me. Let's go.
Are also watching them tip into that. All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I know some people are not feeling too happy today because Thomas Massey lost in Kentucky. A lot of people are asking, what's going on with our country? Is this it? Can you just buy whatever you want? But I'm going to be positive here. I'm going to say, look up, right? It does not mean everything. We are obviously plugged in. We see what is going on. We are also watching them tip into that unique phase of sheer arrogance. There's this sheer arrogance right now of the Epstein class. That's what they are. They are the Epstein class. They believe they have more money than God, right? They think their money can buy whatever they want, anything and everything. Their money can cover up murders and rapes.
Oh,
I tell you guys this though, I've been around. I've just seen these cycles in politics, the way Trump is speaking. I am MAGA, I'm a king. I know what we're looking at. It's a not so unique moment when Icarus flies a little too close to the sun. And I know what happens after that. So just relax, wait, get ready. Let's wait for midterms. Let's see what the king of MAGA can buy with his money. Anyway, the fallout from Victor Marx's interview yesterday is trending all across social media, and it inspired me to send out a few preservation letters in my ongoing lawsuit with Brian Harpole. Welcome back to Candace. All right, quick shout out to Nimi Skincare for supporting today's episode. I am very intentional about the brands that I work with, and Nimi is one that I actually use. Clean, simple skincare made here in America. So visit nimiskincare.com and use my code Candace10 at checkout for an additional 10% off your order. Where should we begin? More happy news, I think. I'm just glad. I'm glad today that we made the decision to allocate as much time as he wanted to Victor Marx yesterday. Go ahead, go for it, buddy, gubernatorial candidate to Colorado. And it was really something for a lot of reasons. I mean, as many of you commented, rarely do we get to see that sort of arrogance on display. There are a lot of little Icarus birdies flying around in America. Just a complete lack of self-awareness, believing that you are untouchable, that you graduated to some class of people that are do whatever they want and face no consequences. Also, as a side note, sort of incredible to see how many people Victor Marx had on his team, helping him out with that interview. He took to X afterward and posted this little shot.
Hey everybody, Victor Marx. I just finished a podcast with Candace Owens that I think will never be forgotten. I want to appreciate my team here. Look, I always say truth will prevail, and it did today. I'm not mad at Candace. I don't have any anger toward her. There was a couple times I was passionate in it because I am about protecting kids and Charlie's death. What I would say is, for those of you who said Victor doesn't debate, that was a 1 hour, no moderator debate. That's what I've always told those other candidates. Yeah, let's get face to face. Oh, look, All of this has started only because I entered into the political realm, period. And because I'm winning the governor's race. So thank you all for your prayers. It mattered. It made a difference. We love y'all.
Indeed it did, Victor. I think it did make a difference, and I do believe that truth prevailed. So we can agree on that in the end. So what really got people up in arms yesterday, if you did not have time to watch it, really I would say it boils down to two things. First was the excuse that he offered, which included irrelevant social media posting statistics for why it was that Victor Marx was seemingly the first person in Charlie's orbit to announce that Charlie had passed away. Remember, he told us that this declaration was completely standalone. He hardly watched the footage of Charlie getting shot. He said he watched it one time, but
What's up, y'all? I'm Percy Miller, Master P, and I want to tell y'all, social media, physical products, digital products, this is the way of the future. If you want to grow your business, log in right now with us. Me and Spectac, we're going to help you take your business to the next level. Just click the link right now and join the movement. Are you looking to grow your followers 5 to 10,000 followers pretty much overnight, and you feeling stuck in your business, and you want to scale it, take it to the next level, but you don't know how? Well, guess what? I can see your blind spots because I've been where you are. Master P has been where you are. We built businesses like no other, but now we created.
saying that Charlie had passed, and this
Right.
video was about an hour and 20 minutes before the president's announcement. It would have been to the minute about the time that his family found out that he had passed away, or the people that were at the hospital had found out that he had passed away. So can you explain how you found that out and why you chose to remove the video?
Well, yeah, I'm first interested to find out why y'all think I was the first, or one of the first, to do that. Because, I mean, a rough estimate, there's between 1 to 3 million pieces of social media content that are produced every second worldwide. And, my team looked it up. If there's 180 million posts per minute, and let's just say the first 30 minutes, we're talking 5.4 billion posts in 30 minutes. How could y'all narrow it down? What type of technology could y'all do to narrow down that I was one of the first ones to post that he had passed?
Let's put it in a context that's easier. The
Okay.
first person in Charlie's orbit that announced that information, and when we put it down to the minute, it was when Erika found out that Charlie had passed away. So I was wondering how that works.
Okay. I had someone text me, and he said, my son is at Charlie's event, and Charlie was just shot, and it doesn't look good. We went on it. I watched Charlie being shot.
Yeah, and from that you
And
said
my team,
he's dead.
many who are former special operations guys and combat medics, lots of experience, they viewed it multiple times because I wouldn't. And they said Charlie wouldn't live from that. And I knew it. I knew the only time I saw it, I knew there's no way he could have survived that. And when I made a post and said, Charlie's passed, of course I know Frank Turret, I know the security teams. I put it up, and then I didn't see anybody else posting it. I thought it was premature, and I pulled it down because it just felt wrong that I would post it. But I wanted people to pray.
Yeah. I don't believe that for even 1 second, because common sense. That's the thing that I suffer from. I know many people at home, you guys also suffer from this chronic condition in today's world. Common sense, Victor. You just said you're friends with Frank Turek, friends with the security guys. You told us elsewhere in the interview that Eileen and Erika, they got so close because, well, your wife, your bride, mentors Erika, right? You were so close to Charlie's security apparatus, in fact, that you were able to swiftly coordinate taking over for them a mere 48 hours later in Phoenix, remember? Yeah, you said, they were tired, they were stressed, so you guys came in and your team took over the security apparatus. So we can bet, I think, confidently place a bet, that you didn't sit there texting nobody for an hour and then moving to simply guess that Charlie was dead. You were just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, you had all these contacts with people in the inner circle and said,
She gonna
I'm gonna
solve
wait
this
50
case, y'all.
minutes and then I'm gonna announce to the world what Charlie said. That defies logic. I don't like when people expect me to be stupid, and that expects me to be stupid. It's how it works, is that when you know people, when you're in the inner orbit, you utilize those resources to get information. You don't stand back
Y'all
and
get the
guess
likes
with the
up
rest
if
of the
you
world.
listening.
Kind of like how I was texting Andrew Colvett. Because why would I stand back and guess Charlie's condition when I know the people directly involved who can provide me with real information? Nobody would do that, Victor. You text people you know. I know Frank Turek. I know security teams. That's what you said, right? You text those people for information. And the obvious, sensible message to send initially is Charlie okay? What's going on? What's happening? OMG. I just saw the news. Is he okay?
None of that.
Now, if for some reason you opted not to do that, Victor, and you simply twiddled your thumbs for 50 minutes
Waiting
and then
for it to
ventured to
happen.
guess that he was dead and decided to post a selfie video, then that is extraordinary. That is, to me, extraordinarily suspicious, okay? Here's what a normal text message exchange should look like between somebody who had no idea that their friend was going to be shot on September 10th and had access to people who could provide immediate updates as to what their friend's condition was. Okay? Here is a text exchange between me and Andrew Colvett on that day. Please say he's okay, I wrote. I don't know. Pray. Shot for sure, Andrew writes back. I said, we just prayed before I texted. Any details on where he was shot? I'm freaking out. He says, in the neck head area. I said, I saw the footage. I cannot deal with this. Do you see the problem here, Victor? You're saying that you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You didn't text for an update. You had no idea what was going on. You just were sitting around. Your wife didn't text you. You're just sitting around, and you Terrell Farnsworthed it, right? You decided for an hour to do nothing until it was time to record yourself. You texted nobody that you had access to, and then you randomly hopped onto Instagram in selfie mode to declare to the world that Charlie was dead prematurely, absent any intel. I don't believe that for 1 second. That story has about as much credibility with me as a 3-year-old beheading a cat and wearing it on his head. I actually would rank the 3-year-old beheading the cat and wearing it on his head as more likely. That registers to me as less fiction than the story that you are telling, that you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe to transpire on that day. So then I'm forced to ask myself, Victor, why would you say it? Why would you say it? It's so easy to instead say, well, the reason why I was first to text it 50 minutes later, which is about the time Erika found out, well, me and my bride, we're close to Erika. That's what you could say. We were close to Erika. We were in that inner sanctum, and we found out, well, I don't know, maybe we messaged Andrew Colvett, we messaged the security team. That wouldn't be weird, right? Actually, Frank Turek and the security team should have been the first to know that Charlie was dead. They took him to the hospital. So why instead try to sell to the public that you took a random shot in the dark? Now, if I had to guess, I would say it's because you're protecting someone. Who is that someone? Maybe you're protecting something. What is that something? The good news is that I actually don't have to guess because I'm currently being sued by Brian Harpole, head of Charlie's security team. And since you mentioned that you were in communication with the security team, so much so that you were able to relieve them of their duty, that's what you said elsewhere in the interview, you took over the security apparatus. That's why you were with Erika and were able to hug her, and Eileen were able to provide such relief to the team. They were tired, they were traumatized. I imagine that took some communication. Your communications with the security team during those critical hours might be relevant to my lawsuit. Maybe Brian or Dan communicated to you that they felt that they didn't do all that they could do. Maybe that's why they were traumatized. I don't know. I really don't know, Victor, but I'm going to need to find out because I'm being sued for defamation. Which is why we sent earlier today, Victor Marx, a legal preservation letter. And I hope that we can get to the bottom of what actually transpired on that day. And I think Victor might be able to help. right? Because he did in fact say this. And then you were among the first to post, obviously you and your wife, actually maybe it was actually just you in the first 2 days that went to Erika and Charlie's place to provide her some comfort. So you were quite close to Erika.
We brought our team immediately
Wait a minute.
to help give relief for the first security
Oh, the
team
letters. This
who I
one.
knew when I was in contact with, and they were suffering trauma and exhaustion. They didn't have a secondary. So yeah, we went there. Of course, my bride was with me. Her and Erika are very, very close, and we were just standing by to bring comfort or help. The number one need they had, and we felt like it, and we were asked to, is to provide security, to give relief. So that's what we did.
An admission regarding what he texted Erika while she was at the hospital raised even more eyebrows online, because here's what he said.
And then I contacted Erika through a text and told her. I just told her that nobody's gonna kill you. You're safe, you and the kids. No one's coming after you. They just wanted Charlie.
How you
I was
know
just
that?
trying to reassure her.
How did you know
Because
that?
You declared he was dead on the basis of people saying it didn't look good.
On the basis of people, myself included, who've held dead and dying men from combat in horrible situations. And anybody who saw the killing and has that experience, no, we knew he was dead.
Can y'all get the likes up, please? There's 119 people listening in. 12 likes. Do the math. Do the math. Now, if you don't want to hit the like button, that's cool. I understand that. Just go ahead and leave. Escort yourself on out. But it makes no sense that now it's 113 people listening in 107, and you don't want to hit the like button. You don't want to double tap the face of your phone. Why? Maybe I should have played music first. Do you see where Miss Naturally Norlands has asked y'all and me to hit the like button as well as me? Hi, Pamela. Why are you still here? Okay, because he hasn't got justice yet. So, Pamela, when do people die and people stop talking about him? When? They still talking about Michael Jackson. What the hell are you talking about, Pamela Brown? They still talk about a lot of people that's already gone. Why do we have to stop talking about Charlie fucking Kirk? Who is he? He's no special than anybody else. Jesus Christ is gone. We still talk. Pamela, get out. Girl, get out of here. You done lost your mind. Why is he exempt? Why nobody can talk about Charlie? Why is he so special? Why is he so special? Yeah, we gonna talk about him. We gonna talk about him until we tired of talking about him. We definitely gonna talk about him until he gets some type of justice. And then, depending on what comes out, we still gonna talk about him. Now what? Y'all people are crazy. Respectfully. This don't make no sense. It's Candace's fault because his people took him out, right? You don't want her to talk about it because his people took him out. And his wife was involved. Pamela Brown. What's wrong with these people? Now get the likes up. Now that I have to fuss about it, I can't ask people nicely to do stuff. Y'all not used to nothing. Y'all don't have no manners. Your mama and daddy didn't raise you right. And if you don't like it, get out. How about that? Now you want something's wrong with Candace because she's talking about him and he's gone. As if he the only one.
Safe, you and the kids. No one's coming after you. They just wanted Charlie.
Yeah,
And I
because you was a
trying to
part
reassure
of the takedown of Charlie.
So you declared he was dead on the basis of people saying it didn't look good.
Yeah, she mad because he
On
was
the
about to
basis
get
of
caught, tripped up.
people, myself included, who've held dead and dying men from combat in horrible situations. And nobody's gonna kill you. You're safe, you and the kids. No one's coming after you. They just wanted Charlie. And I was just trying to reassure. Because
you declared he was dead on the basis of people saying it didn't look good.
On the basis of people, myself included, who've held dead and dying men from combat in horrible situations.
Sure, not me.
And anybody who saw the killing and has that experience, we knew he
No.
was dead instantly.
Yeah,
No.
something's not adding up. Didn't text to see if he was alive, but then suddenly said, you're totally good. They only wanted to kill Charlie. Who's they? Who is they? They only wanted to kill Charlie. You and the children are fine. How could you say that? Would that be your first text to a widow?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that's the first text to the widow. We're missing something, and hopefully we can start to put the puzzle pieces together, because we also sent out some more preservation letters. I also sent one to Paramount, not so tactical. I am willing to get into the weeds here. It is odd. Everything they are saying is odd. Everyone
Very
around
creepy.
Erica,
And for Pamela to
just
come in here with
odd.
that mess.
Right? Who would say those things? Who would text her not to see if their husband is dead or alive, abstain, but then swoop in to say, they only wanted to kill Charlie, you're all good?
Yeah, no.
No. And there's something else that I learned that I hadn't shared. I actually learned this some time ago, but today feels like a good time to do so.
Okay, let's
And let
go.
me preface this with the fact that this came from Erika. So it is, of course, plausible, always plausible, that she lied. But I can confirm that she said it to multiple people. Not to me, but to multiple people. And I have evidence of that. In the weeks following Charlie's assassination, she shared with people that Charlie and her were due to sign updated end-of-life documents on September 15th. Let me say that again. Charlie and her had an appointment and a date to sign updated end-of-life documents on September 15th, the Monday after he died. That is remarkable timing. That Charlie was just about to update his will, but then he didn't make it to Monday. Like I said, I trust the sources on this one.
So how did she?
So how are we to interpret that? Okay.
How
We
she
have
get left
two options
everything?
here. Neither one of them is particularly a positive outcome for Erika, I might add. Option one is that Erika was lying when she shared this information, okay? Perhaps, it's totally plausible, she said it out of insecurity, feeling that people might wonder why she was taking over his entire company, right? But remarkably, despite having the ability to present that in his will, a corporate will, his personal will, to say, I express this is my desire, Charlie hadn't particularly documented that desire, or else he would have been told that. So this would sort of rank similar to her telling Megyn Kelly that Charlie had only just expressed an aspirin 3 weeks before his untimely death, but he was abandoning his 10-year publicly expressed desire for women to prioritize their home life and their children above climbing the corporate ladder. It was, in my opinion, not something that he actually said outside of AI tools, but something that they thought they would have to pretend he said to assuage public questions and concern about the seemingly contrary move. So that's an option. There's an option that she just said that to someone
Phyllis.
in the same vein. Oh, you're probably wondering why I'm taking over his whole life here, why I'm going to be on that Air Force board, and why I'm going to be giving speeches and going on tour and being the CEO and chairman. Well, Charlie, it was crazy timing. Charlie was actually just about to update his end-of-life documents to reflect his brand new feminist desires that he had come on very quickly 3 weeks before his untimely passing. Alas. Right? That's an option. That's an option. She just lied. Option 2 is that Erika is not lying, and that Charlie and her did indeed have an upcoming appointment on September 15th to adjust his will and testament. Then the question becomes, to what end and why? Okay? You don't just update your will for funsies. Okay? That's not how it works. If you don't have a will, you just don't do that. It's a lot of paperwork, especially for somebody as fly-high as Charlie Kirk. Especially if you're saying you're going in and you had an appointment to do it. This is not a little update that's happening. There are life events, right? Every time I have a child, you have to add a kid to your will. Okay, so they already get it. We're going to divide this amongst the children. There's one more kid. That gets done via email. When you are going in to do an update, there has to be a life event that warrants that sort of a change. Example, you hit the lottery. Oh, we hit the lottery. We've got billions. Let's get into that office and update our will and testament. Okay? Maybe you would do it if you completely decided to switch who you were doing your life insurance with for some reason. Maybe you get a better deal. I don't know. That might be, generally speaking, another reason that you were going in to change your will. It signals that there was a major shift in your personal life. So the question, the necessary follow-up question, if Erika is telling the truth, is what was this life-changing event? What was the reason that Erika and Charlie were just about to go in on the 15th to update his end-of-life documents? Okay, there was no new kid, which again would not require you to go in most circumstances. It could be different in Arizona. What's the change? And lest we forget, Charlie already had a corporate life insurance policy, which included, I am told, a $10 million payout for Erika and the children. He could have listed desires, his corporate will, his personal will, if he wanted Erika to become the CEO and chairman, since everybody is telling the Daily Mail. He said it so many times. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if that video exists or if I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. The real thing is that every time, everywhere, in every place, people had side conversations with him, and he would just mention it. Charlie, you want some coffee? No, what I actually want is for my wife to take over my company in the event that I get shot. That was it. Everyone knows it. It's just a known. Let me tell you guys something. Again, as sufferers of chronic common sense, in literally every murder mystery ever in real life and within the world of fiction, a will change or a desired will change on Monday.
My name is Shayna, and I'm the CEO of Baskin Lather Co. I'm also a licensed nurse practitioner.
Unexpected death event is something that investigators typically pay attention to. So investigators, if you'd like to reach out to me to receive the names of the people who Erika disclosed this information to, I would be happy and willing to provide it. Anything to assist in the non-investigation of Charlie Kirk that is happening from the FBI, the SBI, and the state of Utah. Let me know how I can not help. If Erika is telling the truth, I cannot think of a life event that would have warranted a change in Charlie's will. There may have been one, but in the midst of Charlie telling people that $10 million was missing from his company, allegedly, in the midst of him establishing a Doge internal audit to locate this alleged $10 million, which was subsequently canceled in the wake of his death, that audit was canceled? Why? In the midst of him texting those closest to him and saying, they're going to kill me. Tomorrow, I think I am going to be killed. I am fully within my right to wonder if he realized that there were a few snakes in his garden. Who was going to benefit from his death? Did Charlie actually make the appointment alone? Actually, that's a possibility too, right? Were his communications being monitored? Did he try to carve out an appointment because he was fearful of some death event, as he expressed? And did he try to radically then shift, learning that he had suspected somebody was taking money, siphoning money out of Turning Point USA, that his life was not what he thought it was? He's asking, I want Candace back. Why? Why does he want Candace back? Because I told him not to trust any of those people. All of the people that the world now sees are the snakes that were in Charlie's garden. I saw them first, and I warned Charlie about those people. So what happened? Were they monitoring? I think they were. I believe, I know everyone had access to everything. Andrew Colvett was running his Twitter. Mikey had his laptop. I mean, everybody did have access to Charlie's everything because he was too trusting. Did they find out somehow that he was going in to change his will? I don't know. But these are questions that ought to be asked when the entire narrative that is currently being presented to us makes entirely no sense. And when his wife just seems okay with it making no sense. Actually, just a little adjacent story, a little sidebar here. Remember that grieving widow we told you about a few months ago? The one in Utah, ironically, who was found guilty of murdering her husband out in, but like not instantly. Corey Richens was her name. Her husband died of an overdose. She then wrote a children's book and went on a public book tour to promote how to cope with loss, the loss of with her grieving children. Are You With Me by Corey D. Richens. The media ate that up. Here is a little quick clip to jog your memory about Corey on tour as the grieving widow.
Parent, a sibling, or friend, talking about loss with kids can be a tricky subject.
Joining us now is author of Are You With Me, Corey Richens, to share her 3 C's to helping kids cope with grief. And Corey, I want to start with your story. What happened in your personal life?
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. So it's March 4th was a 1-year anniversary for us, and he was 39. It completely took us all by shock. And we have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6. And, my kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year, and hoping that it can kind of help other kids deal with this and kind of find happiness some way or another.
And to make sense and process, I'm
Yes.
sure. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you felt that going through and trying to explain it and articulate it for you and your boys.
Yes, exactly.
A month later, she would be arrested, over a year after her husband had passed away. And I wanted to mention that because changing wills, changing life insurance policy was a huge piece of the prosecution's case against her. See, her husband, Eric Richens, also her victim, gratefully and successfully managed to transfer his entire estate and business interests into his sister's name covertly. A few weeks before he passed away, before he was murdered, he was feeling like someone might kill him, and that someone was his wife. And so he coordinated with his sister and transferred everything into her name. His wife had no idea that he had done it shortly before he died, and out of fear for figuring out who his wife was. Simultaneously, the court heard that Corey herself attempted to change the beneficiary of his corporate life insurance so that she would receive it 100% of the payout. But she got caught. Both of these changes signaled to the jury that something was amiss. Eric was terrified of his wife. Like I said, fortunately for Eric, he had people in his orbit and in his life that he was actually able to trust with that information, that he was able to trust when he said, I think she's going to kill me. Anyway, that's just an aside. I will reiterate my earlier point that any attempted or recently accomplished will changes surrounding an unexpected death event should be further investigated. So, if you'd like to reach out to me, investigators, I'm here and ready to help. I suspect I won't be hearing from you. And dare I say, Erika, if you're interested, no, of course not. We'll be right back after a break. All right, you guys, I used to think that great skincare had to be complicated. Like if I wasn't like Miller, I don't know. But which was later confirmed by the Daily Mail in their investigation into the AI video, was that Eric also never be able to say, oh, this person said this. They came forward because they thought it was weird, because it is weird. It could not be weird. Maybe there's a reason Charlie wanted to do that at the same time that he thought people were going to kill him and he wanted to conduct a Doge audit. Maybe, I don't know. But I'd certainly like to find out. And something else that they said that was mentioned, which was later confirmed by the Daily Mail in their investigation into the AI video, was that Eric also communicated that a Turning Point USA board member was going to be helping them with those changes. Interestingly enough, you might recall from that Daily Mail article that they said that they spoke to a TPUSA board member who said that he was helping with those affairs. I wonder who that is. It's probably one of the people that signed the letter announcing Erika, and this is if I'm just taking a shot in the dark. I would imagine it was one of the board members who announced that Erika was going to be the CEO and the chairman. Maybe like a Doug DeGroot, like Miller, I don't know. Like I said, if I was an interested investigator, these would be some crumbs that I would follow. As an update, and moving on, I wanted to let you guys know that I am still being ghosted by the White House. It's depressing, really. I've never been ghosted. Ashley, my producer, has never been ghosted. This is the first time. It feels weird. I feel like I was left on red. The White House Correspondents' Dinner communications are very relevant, which is why we filed an FOIA request. Erika Kirk written in as an emotional asset just over an hour after shots are fired, not concerned about safety, but in making sure that that video is #1 in the morning. That is not something that we are going to let go. We need to keep the pressure on Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA, okay? Because it's working. We are getting more information. They are making more foolish decisions. I mean, how ill-advisable to go to the Daily Mail to say, we're going to host a little private screening with you. What was it, on Zoom or something? And we're going to show you how real this video is. It's so real. We're the victims of the conspiracies, even though we're the ones that presented the video to telling people that it existed, and then decided to have Erika walk out to just the audio of it. They just think they're smarter. That's not so many little Icarus birdies just flying so close to the sun. We've got power. We've got money. We've got Epstein class connections. We could do whatever we want. We'll see about that. Vengeance does not belong to me. Nope, not at all. But I've just seen it so many times, people like this who just think that they have enough power to be bad people, to lie, and to dupe the public. They're not regular. They've classed up. Okay. Anyway, regarding the White House Correspondents' Dinner, we will keep the countdown going and see how far this goes. I want to provide you guys also with a very quick update on the Tyler Robinson case. I think people had some questions yesterday because there was much ado about nothing in the press. A ton of articles being spun out to suggest that Tyler Robinson wanted to conceal the evidence from the public. He wants the evidence sealed from the public. And the headlines, of course, were not representing reality. That's why they don't want, by the way, cameras in the courtroom. I do. I'm glad there will be cameras in the courtroom, but this has been their fear, that the headlines are not representing reality. And yesterday was a prime example. This was the headline in Fox News: Tyler Robinson hearing the defense vies to restrict evidence and testimony in the Charlie Kirk assassination. AP News: lawyers for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk asked to seal evidence in parts of a key hearing. News Nation: lawyers for the accused Charlie Kirk shooter seek to seal evidence in court. Okay, so let me walk you through what is actually happening. In short, there is no change, okay? The preliminary hearing is fast approaching. We discussed this. The defense still has not received their discovery requests. So effectively, the state, the victim, Erika Kirk, they want to be able to present during this preliminary hearing all of this evidence that has not been prodded by the defense. Evidence that ultimately, when they get to the trial, they may say is inadmissible. because it's inadmissible. They can't argue that's inadmissible right now because they don't have the means to argue it. So what they're saying is if we must go through with this preliminary hearing, if you are insisting that this has to happen and we are not going to receive our discovery requests, then you should seal the quote-unquote evidence in case it becomes inadmissible down the line. There's evidence of that. Should we pull that page from the Tyler Robinson's filings where they list everything that they're asking to be sealed and they demonstrate in the column why they want it sealed? Okay, we could pull it up later, but they're explaining very carefully, hey, we want this sealed because they're going in with hearsay evidence. They're bringing 5 officers to say things. They're going to have Lance Twiggs' testimony to say things. We need to be at a further place in this. You're going to testify and show these text messages. You're going to show this. You're going to show that. We don't even know if these text messages are real. So what would happen if they allowed the prosecution to present those text messages and they were not under seal? What would happen is exactly what you just saw. You would have Fox News, you would have News Nation, you would have Paramount Not So Tactical, and their influencer orbit of people saying, booyah, booyah. See, these messages, they're in court, so now it's real. They think the public is stupid and that they will not be able to sort through down the line. They think if you're first across the finish line, if we can just show this in court, people will think that it has been vetted and it's legitimate. And so they are saying, don't give the media the opportunity to spin something that may ultimately be proven inadmissible because it's fraudulent. And here is the documents that we're going to pull up here. We can get to that page that just shows left and right. Here's 31, the case in point, the FBI DNA report, right? The towel, the screwdriver, they haven't even been able to see this stuff. They said they weren't even able to see the gun. Listed 32, the ATF ballistics report. Yeah, they want this stuff sealed because ultimately, if they can't actually go through it and prove that it is legitimate or understand their methods for how they presented it. All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I know some people are not feeling too happy today because Thomas Massey lost in Kentucky.
What just happened?
A lot of people
It
are
just
asking what
clicked.
is, and
Jordan, table 6 has been waiting 12 minutes for their appetizers.
And Theo Von responded and said, this is mostly cap. That's slang, by the way.
I don't even know where it
I don't
was
really
when
know
it
what
kicked off.
Joe Rogan had discussed Theo when he was sitting across from him. And Theo was rightfully venting about the Epstein class and the pedophile class. And it sort of seemed like Joe Rogan's response was to treat Lance Twiggs' testimony to say things. We need to be at a further place in this. You're going to testify and show these text messages. You're going to show this. You're going to show that. We don't even know if these text messages are real. So what would happen if they allowed the prosecution to present those text messages and they were not under seal? What would happen is exactly what you just saw. You would have Fox News, you would have News Nation, you would have Paramount Not So Tactical, and their influencer orbit of people saying, booyah, booyah. See, these messages, they're in court, so now it's real. They think the public is stupid and that they will not be able to sort through down the line. They think if you're first across the finish line, if we can just show this in court, people will think that it has been vetted and it's legitimate. And so they are saying, don't give the media the opportunity to spin something that may ultimately be proven inadmissible because it's fraudulent. And here is the documents that we're going to pull up here. We can get to that page that just shows left and right. Here's 31, the case in point, the FBI DNA report, right? The towel, the screwdriver, they haven't even been able to see this stuff. They said they weren't even able to see the gun. Listed 32, the ATF ballistics report. Yeah, they want this stuff sealed because ultimately, if they can't actually go through it and prove that it is legitimate or understand their methods for how they presented it, they may down the line say to the jury, never mind, that's inadmissible. So do not color the public, do not color jury with stuff that down the line may ultimately mean nothing. It makes perfect sense. There is no change. All right, you guys, I do want to shift gears here. I do not often weigh in on the podcast wars, so to speak. I think because I'm usually the one that's at the center of them. But there was a clip that went around yesterday that really, or last week rather, that really bothered me. And it bothered me for two reasons. I obviously like Joe Rogan. I am friends with Theo Von. He's literally one of the best people that I know. My children absolutely adore him, I tell you that. He's just exactly what you think he is. Exactly what you get on his show is who he is. And he is like the fun uncle, the funkle that everybody wants. And I had seen earlier, I think it was a few months ago, that Joe Rogan had discussed Theo when he was sitting across from him. And Theo was rightfully venting about the Epstein class and the pedophile class. And it sort of seemed like Joe Rogan's response was to treat Theo Von like a child that was just crazy and needed to just chill out. And it's the way we all feel. We're very frustrated with the system. And I said, okay, whatever, they're just two guys talking. But then Theo Von was not in the presence of Joe Rogan, and he was sitting across from someone discussing Theo Von's SSRI usage. And this is what Joe Rogan said, and it caused quite a bit of backlash. Take a listen.
Yeah, Theo Von's going through the exact same thing. And last time he was on the podcast, he was explaining it to me. And it freaks me out because I know Theo has had conversations before, like even publicly. He had a Netflix taping, and it didn't go well. It was like they actually they shelved it. They never used it. And there was all these stories from people that were there saying he bombed. I think he just had a kind of a breakdown. And then he was talking to the crowd, and there's a video of it where he said, the people were shaking, hey, we still love you. He goes, thank you. Look, I'm trying not to take my own life. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Yeah. And like, you hear stuff like that, and you just go like, oh, Jesus Christ. I've known too many people that I didn't think were going to kill themselves and then did. And then he goes down these spirals where he starts talking about world events and freaking out. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I got to help this dude. And so I send him things about people getting off of them, and apparently there's some doctors that specialize in getting people off of them. But
United States?
Here's the thing about that chemical imbalance thing.
Why is the seat
That's
of
not
United
real.
Healthcare?
They used to
Cynthia,
think
that's not what
was
we're talking
these
about.
things
Is that
do,
what he's
that
talking
they
about?
treated a chemical imbalance. But then recently,
Yeah, if you
studies
want
have
me to
shown
research that, you
is
need
not
to
what they do.
send me a cash
They
app.
don't exactly know what
That's
they
not what
do.
I'm on.
And they kind of numb you
I'm not.
in some
Yeah.
sort of a way that helps some people.
You have to send me a cash app.
So, to the portion that I very much agree with Joe Rogan on, which is the very end, which didn't require anything about Theo Von, which is my personal opinion about the drugs they put people on for emotional reasons. And I very much...
Okay, y'all, listen. If y'all asking me to give my advice, my opinion, my research on something that I'm not talking about, hit my cash app, please. Don't work me for free. That's like that slavery shit they trying to do right now. No, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah. $ AUNTEAFEE. My opinion ain't free. Okay. My research
shared
ain't
my
either.
story of how lucky I was that I had a friend in college that when I went through a breakup and was boohoo crying, and the doctor wrote me a prescription of Xanax, was like, you don't need Xanax. That's a human emotion. Like, why would you want to take something that's going to stop you from feeling a human emotion? Nothing's wrong with you. It turns out you're just human. And so I get that part of the conversation. It was just sort of presenting as I'm being compassionate by talking about Theo Von. Like, if he actually was in this dark place and his whole life was coming apart and he wanted to take his own life, that certainly wouldn't be the thing that helped him. That would actually be the thing that maybe tipped him over the edge, right? And so I looked at that and I said, what is that actually? What are we doing here? And kind of caging it like you're a friend and you're concerned, when any person who is concerned and is a friend would not publicly do something like that. So I thought it was really icky, and I was not happy about it. And then I didn't say anything about it. I'm always saying something now, because I watched the back forth. Theo responded to that clip because it went viral, and people were equally as like, what is that? And Theo Von responded and said, this is mostly cap. That's slang, by the way. I don't really know what it means. He's cooler than me. Sad to see this kind of stuff. I'm doing great. I'm a human being, which is a rocky ride, but I'm doing fine, thanks. And yeah, being a human being is a rocky ride, and you never know the context of what somebody is saying to someone, whether they're kidding when they say something. Like, he told me he was wildly taken out of context, and he was like, oh, I'm trying not to kill myself, and everyone got all concerned. And so I just didn't love it. I did not love it. And what I did really love, though, was that Joe Rogan did something that he's never done in the history of his show, where he just recorded him apologizing. And I don't think it was motivated for selfish reasons. I really don't. I think I sense his sincerity in this. I don't think it was like, well, people are all mad at me, because people have been mad at him very many times in the past, and he's not apologized in this way. And I just wanted to play that, because very rarely in the podcast space do you ever see anyone apologize for anything. There's so much arrogance, and this was cool, so I'm going to play it.
I apologize to Theo. He knows I love him, and he said that, and we laughed and we joked around about it, and I apologize for the way I talked about this. But I felt like I need to explain to other people too, to get just like what was going on in my mind out. And it certainly wasn't like covering for Israel, and it certainly wasn't like trying to
You
paint
believe
him
the
out
propaganda,
like he's
you believe the
damaged,
hype.
treat him like a child. I just want him to be okay. And when you're dealing with someone, or when you have like had experience dealing with someone where it winds up going very badly, and then you're just left with this feeling like, what could I have done? I didn't do a good job of it. Especially like the Marcus King thing. Like, that's terrible what I did. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to. You don't think sometimes when you're in the middle of a podcast, you're just having a conversation. You don't think about the impact that it's going to have. That's one of the reasons why podcasts are so weird, because like you're in the middle of trying to be entertaining, but you're also just having a conversation. And I f***ed up. So because I felt so badly about it, I was like, there's got to be a way to address this where I just express myself. And so that's why. We've never done this before. We've never done this kind of a thing after a podcast. But Theo's very important to me. She's an awesome person, a great friend, and one of the most interesting and funny people I've ever met in my life. And I just felt terrible about it. And I told him I would never bring it up publicly again. But I think it is important to let people know that aspect of it. So I'm going to call him and clear this with him and make sure he's cool with me saying this, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be. And that's it. So I'm a human, and I'm flawed like all of us, and I f*** up, and it's probably not the last time. It's definitely not. I'm going to f*** up again. But my intention is never to hurt anybody, ever.
I just made a $27 ebook in 2 minutes using AI. Watch how I did it, so you can do it too.
Easily the coolest thing I've ever seen on the Joe Rogan Experience, because it was basically what Theo talked about. We're all human, we make mistakes. And he's right, like, especially me. I really do say things like I am talking to my friends on a podcast. That's real. You can just kind of forget that you're live, and you it'd be weird. You're like, Joe Rogan, you're number one. You should know what you're saying at all times. Well, he's doing hours and hours of podcasting, and it is, sometimes you just forget yourself when you're deep into a conversation, and you think you are alone with the person, me, I guess, just talking to you guys. And then I'm like, ooh, did I say that? I'm thinking of like minor situations where I've said something and I'm like, gosh, I really didn't even recognize that. So I just think it's a little like more of that, I think. And it's just cool to see people resolve something in a very human way. And I thought that was just a rare, happy thing that happened in politics, and I thought it was a good thing for me to end on that, since I was basically going to breathe fire this entire episode. So I just need to calm myself down with a nice story. Anyway, we'll take a brief break and we'll get to your comments. All right, you guys, you know those days when you just feel off? As a mom, I've had plenty of them between juggling work, family, and everything else. Eating perfectly balanced meals every day just is not realistic. That's why I started paying close attention to what might be missing from my nutrition. Balance of Nature makes it very simple. They use real whole food ingredients, fruits and veggies, take them through a special vacuum cold process to help preserve nutrients. Then it's all powdered and put into an easy daily routine with no fillers or unnecessary. All right, who's excited for Hunter Biden tomorrow? Come on, I know you guys are excited for that. I'm excited for you guys to see it. That will be at 5:00 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, I'll be snooping in the chat. I think I'll probably be doing that. Top comments from yesterday's episode regarding Victor Marx. Ballistic Bud writes, "I'm a veteran, served 3 times more than him. We do not stand with that guy." Yeah, I remember his bizarre. It was 3 years. It was 2 years. Talk about just coming across generally soft and unfit to serve in the armed forces. That was an example of exactly that. Yet alone to be in trying to lead in the entire state of Colorado. I don't think that works if you're that soft and fragile. Ultraviolet writes, I survived Victor Marx is what most of us are feeling right now. Yeah, definitely thinking people that say that they were emotionally abused by him, that's tracking for me. I'm a vibe person, and I feel like the vibes are there that he could in fact be guilty of just that. All right, comments from today's episode. Whoops, opened the wrong document. Seven Sheets writes, any news on Erika Kirk rushing to trademark Charlie's name, and his parents, bless them, are suing her over this? Is this what a widow would do, or a power money grab, and why without the consent of his parents, prayers, and faith? I think that was just an internet rumor. I never heard that. I had never received any information about that. And I don't know that, I would imagine Charlie's name was already trademarked, possibly. I don't know what trademarks were filed. I guess we can look and see that, and you can check my dates. I have not done that trademark search. But yeah, I would imagine that that is not the circumstance. And I think a lot of rumors are flying around, and that one kind of went more viral than some other ones. Z.A. Mitt writes, Congressman Thomas Massey was France-fade yesterday. Unfortunately, the battle is physical, the war is spiritual. Devil's overplaying his hand. I will leave it at that. It only works if people believe it's real. Get what I'm saying? Power works when people believe it's real, because power is actually quite fragile. So when people begin to recognize that they are being ruled over, like when the slaves look up and recognize that actually they're on a plantation, that's not good. It's one of the reasons why slaves are not allowed to learn how to read the slave codes. Like, it was actually such a insistent slave code that even if you were a slave owner and you were caught teaching a slave how to read, you would also face penalties and fines and punishment, because they needed you to be ignorant. That's the point. They need you to be stupid, and people are not stupid right now. They get what's going on. And so
Facts.
I personally like the phase where they get arrogant. I like this phase
white
where they start saying the
wash
things that they're saying.
out.
And like I said, I've seen it happen a great many times, and we are headed in that direction with the Epstein class. Two-Tone Tommy writes, there are two sets of cojones between Brigitte and Victor. There's one set of cojones between Candace and Victor ain't got it. I don't want cojones. I don't want cojones. But I get what you're saying. At the point that you're making, Victor just registered to me as a bit unstable, emotionally unstable. Happy he says he's working on it. I have no doubt that he probably did not have a peachy childhood. Actually, frankly, I liked his family. They reminded me a lot of my family. It's just Southern people, and like one side of my family at least. Southern people seemed like people that cared and had dignity and respect and a sense of honor about their ways, even if things were a bit crazy growing up. That's the vibe I got. Mandy writes, the urgency by our government to build these data centers, which drain our drinking water supply and strain our local grids, needs to be talked about. We talked about it last week. I think everybody is talking about it, and they should continue to talk about it. And within your community, when they are trying to do these sorts of things, you need to cause an uproar. There are more of us than them. Something Charlie always said to me. What is one thing that every single slave civilization since the beginning of time had in common with one another? And the answer is there were always more slaves than masters. So think about that. Zach Costello Show. Oh, I've watched some of your episodes. Zach Costello, hello. Zach writes, the timeline of Charlie to car, drive to hospital, surgeon, and Andrew Colbert finding out puts Victor Marx's Instagram post at exactly within the time frame that his closest inner circle was finding out. Someone informed him, in my opinion. I totally agree with you, Zach. That's the point we were making. It was right around the timeline when Erika finds out. It's actually a little bit before when Andrew Colbert finds out. So that signals to me that someone in the hospital, perhaps a security team or Erika, informed him that Charlie was gone. Just putting together the blue clues. I definitely don't think he was just wagering a guess. That doesn't register right to me. Or maybe he was a part of the Israel chat because, like I mentioned the other day, Pastor Jack Hibbs and that little orbit of TPUSA faith-adjacent people-ish were also among the first to say that Charlie had passed and that for some reason Israel knew first. I don't know why they knew first. Who knows why Israel knew first? Israel didn't do nothing. They've never done anything other than assassinate a sitting president of the United States. Abdallah Cab writes, Candace, what do you think about the shooting at the mosque in LA? It is the first time that I have seen mass shooters take their own life. Is it another attempt to place a wedge between Christian America and Muslims. I actually did not follow that story, so I'm a bit uneducated, but I will just say more broadly speaking, the attempt to pull Christians and Muslims apart and keep them warring with each other has become very evident. And I always speak about 9/11 and the intentional brainwashing that took place across my generation, making us every day never forget 9/11, stand up at 9 a.m. and 11 minutes every day. And for a moment of silence, that was what was going on at my high school, to drive this fear of Muslims, have us thinking that they are radical. And I think that now our generation is grown up and we have some different ideas and opinions about who could have been around 9/11, who benefited from those Middle Eastern wars, which subsequently took place. It certainly wasn't America, and it certainly wasn't Christians. I will leave it at that. James the Least writes, if I wanted to be governor of Colorado, I wouldn't go on one of the biggest podcasts in the country and say absolutely nothing about why I should be governor. On the other hand, if I had a lot of money to launder, what easier way to do that than to run for office? I think we have the worst options that people that are running. I don't know how Ed Gallerin is not just embarrassed to be alive, honestly, to not even run and to have everybody know what you are, effectively a prostitute. Right, you're just a prostitute. You know that. You had no crowd. You had to have the camera zoomed in real close to your face so people couldn't see the no crowd that showed up, even to your victory party. Nobody was there. I just think we need to bring back culture of shame. And as a man, that should kill you. You should die from embarrassment automatically, right? Just like, as a man, I'm just going to pass away, testosterone deficiency or something. That's, if I was Ed Gallerin, that's what I would expect. But I guess we live in a different generation. People are pansies, and people are like, let me.
Tony, you coming in asking me questions. You want my opinion, my advice, and you didn't even hit the like button. I might have to ask you to leave, please. Thank you. Have a good night. I said do not come in here asking me my opinion, my advice, and you not supporting my platform. You have not hit my likes. None of y'all. My likes have not been 153 people in here, and the likes have not went up. My cash app for support have not went off. Do not come in here and ask me nothing. My opinion or my research if you've not supported my platform. Okay? I'm going to put you out.
Yay. I'm just going to do what I can to get rich and vote how they tell me. Brainwashing that took place across my generation, making us every day never forget 9/11, stand up at 9 a.m. and 11 minutes every day. And for a moment of silence, that was what was going on at my high school, to drive this fear of Muslims, have us thinking that they are radical. And I think that now our generation is grown up and we have some different ideas and opinions about who could have been around 9/11, who benefited from those Middle Eastern wars, which subsequently took place. It certainly wasn't America, and it certainly wasn't Christians. I will leave it at that. James the Least writes, if I wanted to be governor of Colorado, I wouldn't go on one of the biggest podcasts in the country and say absolutely nothing about why I should be governor. On the other hand, if I had a lot of money to launder, what easier way to do that than to run for office? I think we have the worst options that people that are running. I don't know how Ed Gallerin is not just embarrassed to be alive, honestly, to not even run and to have everybody know what you are, effectively a prostitute. Right, you're just a prostitute. You know that. You had no crowd. You had to have the camera zoomed in real close to your face so people couldn't see the no crowd that showed up, even to your victory party. Nobody was there. I just think we need to bring back culture of shame. And as a man, that should kill you. You should die from embarrassment automatically. Right, just like, as a man, I'm just going to pass away, testosterone deficiency or something. That's, if I was Ed Gallerin, that's what I would expect. But I guess we live in a different generation. People are pansies, and people are like, let me, yay. I'm just going to do what I can to get rich and vote how they tell me to vote. Yeah, you're a slave too, Ed. So just, you think you're one in the house. That's all that is. Sorry, guys, that was a little harsh. I am not being very nice today. I gotta chill. I have got to chill ASAP. New merch available on the website if you would like to support us and support people who are not bought and paid for. The easiest way to support our show is to head to CandaceOwens.com, buy some merch, buy yourself a mug. We don't know, but we know. And soon we're gonna know. Yep, tons of stuff up there. And some great caps. Yeah, there you guys go. just get up there, just buy something, just buy whatever it is that you want. And by the way, if you are watching right now, hit the like button on or subscribe button on YouTube. I just feel like we're flirting with 6 million. They don't want me to have 6 million. They don't want me to just earn 6 million. There's something about 6 million. It's a number that I can't have. So if you are watching this on YouTube, subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for the Hunter Biden interview. Yay, be excited. I think it's going to definitely have a lot of people talking one way or the other. And beyond that, we won't see you until Tuesday because we are off for Memorial Day.
Okay, y'all, I gotta go. Have a good night.